How about heroes on American soil? You may know the name Junípero Serra. You may know him because he is the very first saint who was canonized on American soil by Pope Francis just a few years ago in 2015. You may know him more famously in the past 2 weeks because his name has been desecrated, his image tarnished, a statue of him desecrated and torn down in California. He was leaped into a group of people, which is something that in our country we're trying to work against. But this man's name was leaped into a group of people, of colonialists, of conquerors from Spain who came over and mistreated the indigenous people. We may be able to say things about missionaries who have been here in the past, and good and bad things. We may be able to say good and bad things about those colonialists that came to the United States and the way that they treated the indigenous people. But let's take a look at one man, because we have to talk about each individual, lest we heap everybody into the same group. Why does the Catholic Church call this man a saint? Why do we erect statues of him as a hero? Not because he's just part of a group of people, but because what he individually has done, the way that he individually lived his life, which is the way that the Lord Jesus Christ looks at each one of us. What have we done? Who are we? We can't just be part of a group and all of a sudden be saved or damned because of that. We are responsible for our lives. We're responsible for the actions and the words that we speak. And so what do we know about Junípero Serra and why tarnish a man's name until we know who he really is? Here's some things that I can tell you about him. He was a Franciscan priest that, yes, came over with the Spaniards in the colonialization of California. I know that this man erected 21 missions in the state of California. He's been upheld since the 1700s as a hero. But why? Not because he was part of the conquerors, not because he came there to conquer the people. In fact, he was the one who was bringing human dignity to the indigenous people when he was there. And there's evidence of that. When the colonialists, when the military were mistreating all of the indigenous people, he was the one who walked on a bum leg back from California. He walked back to Mexico City to talk to the viceroy of Spain who was in charge. And he asked him for permission to punish any soldiers who were mistreating the indigenous people. That's how much he cared for their well-being. Not only that, did you know that all these 21 missions are built just miles away from every one of the military barracks in California? Why? Because he wanted to provide them a place of refuge, a place to escape harsh treatment, a place where he could show them God's love. And what did those missions do? They were healthcare for the indigenous people. There were education for them. And most of all, and most importantly, there was knowledge of salvation, hope in the person of Jesus Christ, which was not forced upon them, but offered to them. This is what he stood for. And were there some missionaries who mistreated indigenous people? I'm sure of it. In fact, there's proof of it. Because Junípero Serra was the one who identified those who were mistreating the indigenous people, and he sent them home. He called them unfit for mission. He was there to show dignity to the human person. That's how he proclaimed the gospel of Jesus Christ. We can say whatever we want about the conquerors, about the colonialists. You may say whatever you want about missionaries. But before we desecrate the name or ruin the reputation of a man who was heroic in desperate times, not looking for popularity, not looking for power, not looking for money. This was a Franciscan priest who was a poor man, who didn't care about money, who gave his life to the Lord. That was his only reward. This was a man who came to this place to show people human dignity, not power. He didn't get anything out of serving those indigenous people in the missions. He wanted to show them the love of Jesus Christ, which was the mission of his entire life. We may have destroyed his name in this country. We may leap him into a group of people. But on this day, in the day in which the Catholic Church celebrates this man, we celebrate his dignity. We call him saint, not because of anything that he deserved, but because of what the Lord instilled in him. The Lord gave him a mission. He lived it out to the best of his ability. He was a man who we should call now today, not only saint, but hero.